Good shot. Oh my!
Here to celebrate Georgetown! The Georgetown Raiders are Buckland Cup champions!
The Trenton Golden Hawks, the RWDUIT Cup champions, are going to Coburn.
Back to Minerva. Shot scores! And the Coburn Cougars are the Royal Bank Cup champions!
Evans bumping, they score! Frank Poche, the game winner, and the Buckland Cup winner!
Well, the conference finals concluded last week. Who would be the last two clubs standing to face off for the Buckland Cup? More on that coming up in just a moment. This is the OJ Today. Welcome back, everybody. We will have all the action from the conference finals this week, highlights from each and every game. Also, later in the show, Mississauga Chargers head coach Joe Washkarak is going to join me once again as we review the Final Four and preview the championship final. But first, OJ highlights. And the Markham Royals, well, they've certainly played with fire during the postseason, and they narrowly avoided getting burnt against the Newmarket Hurricanes in the North Division final. The Royals stormed back from a 3-0 series deficit to take it in 7 games in the Northwest Conference final, though, against the powerhouse Oakville Blades. They once again found themselves down in the series, but Oakville is just an entirely different animal than Newmarket. And trailing 2-1 against the Blades, the Royals faced a massive uphill climb to get back into this one. OJ Highlights now brought to you by Hilton Hotels. Hilton, the official hotel of the Ontario Junior Hockey League.
The Royals got spanked pretty good, 7-2 in Game 4, so they were looking to bounce back in this one. Andrew Albano on his game early, robbing Kyle Potts to keep it scoreless in the first, and he gets away with one here. Harrison Israel's right on the far doorstep, whiffs on it though, and the puck, it stays out. Markham draws first blood, Royals 2-on-1. Will Barber makes the first stop. Luca Esposito follows up on the rebound. And Markham up 1-0 at the break. Scary moment for the Blades early in the second. Watch as Jason Pinio goes hard to the net and ouch. Bends his left ankle back, and yeah, he was down for a bit. Had to be helped off the ice and ended up missing the next game with the dreaded lower body injury. But his boys stepped things up in his absence, though. Beautiful passing here by the Blades. Tic-tac-toe. Kyle Potts on the doorstep with the finish, and they were all tied up 1-1. 6 minutes later, Peyton Reeves up the middle, 1-on-4, but still gets it to go past Albano to give the Blades the lead. Oakville would grab 3 more in the third period to take a commanding 3-1 series lead over Markham. So the Blades had a chance to finish them off that Friday. Markham had done so well to escape elimination against Newmarket in the last round, but as mentioned, Oakville is just on a whole other level this year, and they were flying from the start. Harrison Israel's right off the bar. Moments later, history repeats itself. This time, though, it's Tanner McEachern getting robbed by the goalie's best friend, but it was really just a matter of time. Ryan Nicholson going for a skate, lays it back for Spencer Kirsten, and the future Princeton Tiger makes it 1-0 for the Blades. Now, Will Barber has been the go-to guy in net for Oakville during the playoffs, and with saves like this, you can understand why. Utter larceny on former Blade Matt Hyami. Oakville hits again. Markham getting sloppy in its own end. Peyton Reeves steals and feeds Jack Ricketts, and boom, and it goes. And it wasn't looking good for the Royals, who had 2 goals in addition to 2 games to make up in the series at that point, if they were to somehow going to be able to catch the Blades. In the second stanza, Oakville continues to pad its lead. Kyle Lewis with the gorgeous stretch pass for Josh Nixon, and the Oakville sniper gets another tally. The home squad in the driver's seat, leading 3-0 after 40 minutes of play. Final period now. Blades shorthanded, but put together a 2-on-1. Nixon to Kirsten. The twine bulges. Just too many weapons on this Oakville team for Markham to handle. The squad swarmed Will Barber, as they celebrate the 4-1 series victory. Oakville is now 12-3 in the playoffs and have lost just once in the postseason at home. The Big Ice at 16 Mile Arena proving to be a huge advantage as it was during the regular season. Congrats to Markham on what was a great season, but Oakville ultimately takes it in 5 games. Okay, news and notes brought to you by Jostens, the official ring and awards provider to the OJHL, and this is the biggie. Jet Alexander has been named the OJHL League MVP for the 2018-19 season, and for good reason. Jet put up a 30-11 record for the North York Rangers, helping to lead them to the number 6 ranking nationally, and the South Division title. Jet had a sparkling 1.67 goals against average, 9.45 save percentage, and set a new OJ single season regular season record with 10 shutouts. Way to go, Jet. And another keeper also picked up some hardware. Mitchell Weeks of the Newmarket Hurricanes was just a standout between the posts. The 17-year-old had a 16-11 and 1 record with 6 clean sheets, a 1.72 goals against average, and 941 save percentage. Weeks was selected first overall in the 2018 OHL Under-18 draft, and he'll join the Sudbury Wolves next year. Way to go, Mitchell, and good luck to you with the Wolves. OJ Trivia brought to you by Cool Sports. Cool, the official apparel provider to the OJHL. And this week's question is, what NCAA school is Oakville Blades forward Alton McDermott committed to? The grandson of Paul Henderson. First correct answer to our Morocco at the OJHL.ca will win a cool prize pack. This segment of the OJ Today is brought to you by Cliff Bar. Cliff Bar, the official energy bar of the OJHL.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the OJ Today. Well, this was not the way it was supposed to go for the North York Rangers. After terrifying OJHL opponents all season long, garnering the #1 seed in the Southeast Conference and ending up ranked 6th in all of Canada, NYR had its sights set on the Buckland Cup and beyond. Yet the Rangers found themselves on the brink of elimination last week, trailing those pesky Wellington Dukes 3-1. Over 1,000 screaming Dukes fans were all set to celebrate, so it was up to the Rangers to put a damper on those party plans.
And we'll take you to Game 5 first before heading to Wellington. North York was desperate, facing elimination, and they played like it. What a first period they had. Just a $1.30 in, puck comes out front. Aiden Casey wraps it past Logan Bateman. 1-0 Rangers. 6 minutes later, look at this passing here. Clinical. Jonathan Hampton on the doorstep. Makes it 2-0 NYR, and they kept coming. Nicholas Schuck back for captain Graydon Gottschalk, and he tosses that monkey right off his back. That's his first tally of the series. 3-0 Rangers, and they were far from done. North York was just relentless in the first. The rubber pinballs to Cole O'Hara. He bulges the twine. And 4-0 for the blue, red, and white. They were just firing on all cylinders. And then a minute 20 later, Wellington can't clear here. Nicholas Schuck will pounce all over it and sling it past Bateman. What an insane period by North York. 5 goals, and they would add 3 more over the rest of the game as they dominate the Dukes and pull to within a game in this series. So it was back to the Lions' Den for Game 6, a packed Wellington arena. No scoring until the second period. Andrew Rinaldi continuing his red-hot play, rips it past Alexander from a bad angle to make it 1-0 for the Dukes, but the Rangers strike back late in the period. Tyler Flack sliding it past Logan Bateman, and they were all tied entering the third frame where things got wild. Ross Krieger just manages to squeak it past Logan and watches it just kind of flutters over the line here. And the Rangers take their first lead of the game, 2-1, but the Dukes were throwing everything they could at Alexander late. He was standing on his head, but then finally, Quinn Hanna continues his stellar postseason play with the point shot that finds daylight, and those Dukes just refuse to die. All tied up 2-2 But with just $1:31 remaining, Aiden Casey cleans up the garbage out front. A backhander beating Bateman. That makes it 3-2 North York. They would also add an empty netter to seal the deal as the Rangers show some resilience of their own by stepping into one of the league's most intimidating atmospheres and taking down the Wellington Dukes. So it was back to Herb Carnegie Arena in North York on Sunday for Game 7.
What a character win by the Rangers, which left the Dukes on the opposite end of what they'd managed to accomplish in the East Division final. In that case, it was Wellington that managed to claw back from a 3-1 series deficit against Whitby to advance. This time around, it was North York that had evened things up and seemed to have all the momentum when they squared off at Herb Carnegie Arena for Game 7.
It certainly seemed that way, but Wellington's proved to be like a cat with 9 lives, and they still haven't spent them all. Case in point, they were down early. Dante Spaniolo gets the Rangers out to the 1-0 advantage, but the Dukes hit back, and it looks like a dead play here after it gets broken up, but then Andrew Rinaldi feeds Dawson Ellis out front, and they were all knotted up at 1 apiece. 5 minutes later, though, it's NYR. Again, Cole O'Hara lets the 2 players battle it out and then casually picks it up and jackpot. The 16-year-old super rookie makes it 2-1 North York. That was the score at the break. Second frame, Jet Alexander is going to make the first and second saves here, but then finally Gonzo, Elijah Gonzalez, and gets it over the line. And Wellington ties it yet again, 2-2. 4 minutes later, they take their first lead of the game on the power play. Daniel Pineda, stick out front, redirects it past Jet. Wellington leads 3-2. Final stanza, Andrew Rinaldi, the OJ's leading playoff scorer, just continues to amaze, steals the rubber, dances past Alexander, and that would seal the deal. The teams would trade goals after that, but the Wellington Dukes once again proved the naysayers wrong, and this was a great moment. The Dukes go over to their super fan Nick Scar to celebrate with him. Absolutely love it. And how awesome are the Wellington fans? 500 was the attendance at Herb Carnegie, and I think about 450 of them were traveling Wellington fans. The Dukes of Wellington take down the nationally ranked North York Rangers in 7 games, and they advance to the Buckland final. OJ Commitments brought to you by Warrior Hockey. Warrior, official partner of the OJHL Game of the Week and the OJ Today. And Nick Lund of the Whitby Fury is off to Adrian College this fall. Nick started the season with the Lindsay Muskies before being traded to Whitby. And he racked up 38 points this year and also had 8 in 13 playoff games. Way to go, Nick. Jack Clark of the Brantford 99ers is also headed south of the border. He signed to play with Lake Forest College, which is actually just outside Chicago. And Jack was a solid contributor for Brantford this season. 22 points in 53 games he had. This week's alumni update brought to you by Chaos, the official hat provider to the Ontario Junior Hockey League. And congratulations to Dennis Gilbert, who attended the University of Notre Dame and on April 3rd played his first NHL game with the Chicago Blackhawks. And Dennis played 1 season in the OJ for the Buffalo Junior Sabres back in 2013-14. Way to go, Jack, and give him hell in the NHL. This segment of the OJ Today is brought to you by Barnburner Hockey. Barnburner, official partner of the OJHL Game of the Week and the OJ Today.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the OJ Today, and well, miracles never cease for the second time in the playoffs. The first time we've done this, actually, twice in the playoffs.
It's awesome.
This is Soccer Charities head coach Joe Washkarak, back by popular demand.
Yeah, I didn't do too well in the first round.
No,
so
we both miffed on those picks.
Miffed.
We'll get.
Hey, congrats to all the teams that made us look bad.
Did we get 1 right? 2
maybe,
right, maybe?
Maybe.
In the opening round. Okay, we're gonna.
That's good though.
We'll see if we can improve on this one. But what we're doing is we're going to talk, first of all, a review of what happened in the conference finals, and then the next segment we're going to do a preview of the final series, the Buckland Cup Championship. But let's start, first of all, in the Northwest, and Markham taking on the juggernaut Oakville Blades, and it ends up being Oakville in 5 games. I guess not entirely unexpected, but just, I mean, you were there for, quite a few
I
of the
saw
games.
a couple of games. No, I thought Markham.
Talk about what you thought of the series.
Markham played pretty well. I thought that it was weird to start 2 games in Markham and then 3 in Oakville, and really Oakville just needed to split. And I've talked about it that their ice advantage at home is massive, and it was. And Markham played them hard, but they're just too deep. And we talked about Markham's depth, and Mike did an unbelievable job there, and all those guys in the organization. Congrats, but. Oakville has a really good team.
I believe there was a scheduling conflict with like a figure skating event that was going on at 16 Mile, which is why, which is unusual. They started the first 2 games in Markham, the next 3 games in Oakville, where Oakville just swept those 3 at home.
Just needed to get one.
But we talked about that, of course, well, first of all, Markham takes the opening game in that series, though, on home ice. When they did that, considering the momentum they had coming off that dramatic comeback against Newmarket,
absolutely.
From 3 games down, were you kind of thinking, you never know? Or was it Oakville just too strong?
I just thought it didn't really. I thought if they could get game 2, then obviously that would have changed. But no, I still had Oakville probably winning that in 5 or 6, to be honest with you.
Right. Once again, they leaned heavily on Aubin and Luciani, top 2 scorers in the OJHL in the regular season, leading the way, of course, for Markham again. But then we saw that gap between those 2 and the rest of the team was too much.
That's where Oakville's depth just really takes over, where they have 4 really, really good lines.
Right. So
maybe 5.
And let's talk about that, because it really sticks out when you look at this Oakville team. They just rolled those 4 lines, like you said, from 1 through 4. And we're not talking about just bangers on the 4th line. We're talking about skill guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's amazing, isn't it, the depth?
No, they have one of the best teams in the OJ in a long time. You can go back to the Georgetown, the Trentons, and stuff like that in the past previous years. But anybody they have, and Pino's hurt a little bit, I think, right now.
He went awkwardly into the boards that game with his ankle, but I think they sat him out for precautionary reasons in the next game.
But then they just send somebody in who could play on the second line and any other team in the league. So depth, goaltending's been good. Willie Barber, I think he's got the best average in the league right now.
We were going to say, because when coming into the playoffs, they were game on, game off. It was Elliott and it was Barber the whole time. Mike has found his go-to guy now in the playoffs. I believe it's 14 of 16 games that Barber has played. So he's got his guy now.
Absolutely.
Obviously,
And Will's played really well, and they've played really well, and it's going to be an interesting series.
It's going to be. We're going to get to that in the next segment. But first, let's talk about those Wellington Dukes. What the heck? These guys are unbelievable.
They're defending champs.
They just proved the naysayers wrong, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. And they have unbelievable crowd support. John Druce is an unbelievable coach, great organization. Don Cotton I've known for years, and hey, defending champs, and they just won't go down. And 2 7-game series they won on opposition's ice. And wow, what do you say?
Well, so they take down the North York Rangers, 6th ranked team in all of Canada.
Unreal.
#1 seed in the South Division. Take them down in 7 games. It was interesting. The script was flipped from Wellington series against Whitby, where they were down 3-1. This time they were up 3-1 on North York. North York storms back. I think a lot of people were thinking, there we go. North York is such a strong team.
Yeah, well, me included. I wouldn't have guessed that. Sorry, John Druce and everybody up there. I didn't think Wellington had. Not that they didn't have a chance. I just thought with the momentum swing and North York going in there in Game 5 and beating them up there on Friday night, I thought was massive. But give them credit. They're champions for a reason. And I watched the game yesterday. I'm sure Jeff Smoggy wanted his team to play a little bit better, but Wellington rose to the occasion and got some good saves from Logan Bateman, who's been a savior with, with
picking
all
him up from the CCHL.
Absolutely.
When Lafreniere left, unbelievable.
Yeah, so can't say enough about the organization, and it should be a great battle.
North York, great season.
Disappointed for them, to be honest.
Great season, but I mean, speaking as a coach and on behalf of those players, how much does this sting right now?
It'll sting for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to sting for a long time. Jeff Smoggy's a great coach. I got a lot of respect. Claude Desjardins was Executive of the Year. Brandon Yeamans is a favorite of mine that they got. Hampton they brought over. Maziar.
They were all in.
And they're really deep too. And it's just, that's why they play the games, I guess, right, Alex? It's,
and we were.
I'm disappointed for them because, they're in our division, and I know a lot of those guys over there pretty well.
I really like that team too.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Of course, and Hamps, who played in Georgetown. I know,
absolutely.
I watched him for years.
They made some great deals.
Great deals. And but I mean, I think we were listening to the broadcast, and they said 14 guys they're losing this year.
It's going to be.
I mean, who knows where Jet Alexander might end up next year? Still doesn't have a scholarship, but is he going to stay in the OJHL? Who knows? Maziar's gone to Mercyhurst.
Absolutely.
D-Man of the year.
Yeah, I think they have 8 or 9 98s right off the bat, and then you have some scholarship guys and stuff. So it'll be tough, but with them winning and stuff, and Jeff being there and Claude, they'll they'll find a good team again, I believe, but it's got to be, it's an understatement. I'm sure they're pretty disappointed
when you go
today.
all in.
Absolutely. They were all in for sure.
I don't want to get too much into the ins and outs of the Wellington Dukes because we're going to do that in the next segment. But for you, is there something you can pinpoint as to what made the difference in this series and how the Wellington Dukes are just able to ratchet it up so much in the playoffs?
Just they find, when they need goals, they find goals. When they need to prevent them, they do. And they got key goals. Their fan support up in Wellington is unbelievable. And I said that earlier about the North York Ranger fans. Go watch them play. Like 3/4 of the building yesterday it was like a home game. And that's really, really disappointing. And, you know, I don't know what to say. I don't know if North York thought, okay, you know, they just came from a 7-game series. We came from
the 4th seed in the
we're going to get by them. I got to give North York a lot of credit. Came back up and down 3-1, but it's tough.
Took it to the limit. Okay,
absolutely.
We're almost out of time for this segment. Next segment, we are going to preview the Buckland Cup Championship. More OJ today coming up in just a moment. This segment of the OJ Today is brought to you by Troy Hockey Apparel. Troy, the official jersey of the OJHL. Hey everybody, welcome back to the OJ Today, and Joe Washcorrect joining me from the Mississauga Chargers as we now preview the Buckland Cup Final. And how good is this going to be?
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
I think it really is.
Great teams.
Yeah.
Only met once during the regular season,
and
it was Wellington 6-5 double overtime win back on January 26th in that game.
Yeah,
was
up in Wellington, I think, right?
Well, it's up in Wellington, but the Dukes hadn't hit their stride like they have now.
They certainly are now.
Got to keep in mind, I mean, this team was 4th in the East Division, which we said is the toughest division.
Sure, absolutely, but you just never can't count out champions, I guess. That's a lesson for everybody out there, right?
So let's just start with, first off, the general comment. What are you expecting from this series?
I'm expecting a long, tough series. I think it'll be another 6-7 games. You know, you're going to go to Wellington in front of 1,000, 1,100 people that are going to be just rabid up there. And in Oakville, we've been out to Oakville together. They're getting 7, 8, 9. They'll get over 1,000 people, I think, for this series. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I think Wellington extremely fast, gritty, and Oakville fast, skilled, playing on Olympic-sized rink. And I've told you that's been the advantage the whole time for them.
Well, we'll talk about Oakville's strength in a moment, but just starting with the Dukes here, and like we said, there's something about this team, it's crazy. Last year, they were not the favorite to win the Buckland Cup.
No.
Definitely coming out of that conference was the Aurora Tigers, who were a powerhouse last year. Wellington knocked them off. Then they knocked off the defending Buckland Cup champions from Georgetown. This year, you could say, if you look at all those teams, Wellington, with all due respect, because I love the Dukes franchise, but but people were not thinking. They were thinking Coburg. They were thinking North York probably. Trenton also was very good. I mean, Wellington was probably sort of out of the East, the last thing on people's mind, which is a real underestimation because of the fact that they are the defending champs.
Yeah, like I thought Coburg had a really good chance to come out of there, obviously with North York on that side, but you know, you got to give John credit and all the guys up there, and their kids just never stop, and being down 3 games and the 1 to Whitby and coming back, and you know, even though they were up 3-1, they could have just went into North York yesterday and said, okay, we've had a good season. Didn't do that.
No way.
Just awesome. So just a great organization.
And even that opening series against Coburg where they just ran them out, 5 games. I mean, nobody expected that.
We're pretty shocked about that.
Andrew Rinaldi is having a playoffs for the ages. This guy heading to RIT on a scholarship.
I believe,
I believe it's next year.
I think you're right.
What is the point wise? 27 points to lead the league, 12-7 games against North York. He's been the difference maker.
Absolutely, and you got to have guys like that step up, and he's been a great player all year, but he's been a fantastic player now, and you know, can Oakville keep him off the sheet? I think you just have to learn to contain a guy because obviously he's going to get his points.
Yeah, that line though, that's been the best line.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think you could say Rinaldi, Gonzalez, and Gilmore, and we said they would have to be the line.
And they have been.
And they have
absolutely been.
67 points between the 3 of them in the playoffs thus far. when you watch
terrible.
Tyson, I mean, is he a chip off the old block?
Absolutely.
I mean, he doesn't really play with as much truculence as Dad Doug does.
But he won't shy away
He
from it.
won't shy away from it, yeah.
You know, pretty decent skater. He's so smart and intelligent where, you know, obviously Doug was gritty, and Tyson, not that he's not gritty, but Tyson's extremely smart and knows where guys are. And
he's a big boy, too.
Tough to knock off great
the puck.
goals and good on face-offs and pretty good bloodlines, I guess.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Let's just mention quickly, special teams. PK is mid-pack, around 84%.
Surprised.
Power play,
yeah, I'm really
abysmal.
shocked. I don't know how you can get
worst.
to this round being like that, but obviously
especially with the potent first line
5
they
on
have.
5, obviously the best team in the playoffs right now, which does help.
Okay, so Oakville, I was going to say I would put this Oakville squad up against any OJ champion team that I've seen over the last few years.
Okay, you
Agreed?
Said it. You said
I said it. I said it. But I mean, I think they're
right
good.
up there. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You're right.
10 NCAA Division I commitments, by the way, it should be mentioned. So I mean, great.
Bad.
It's a great organization
Absolutely.
too. I mean,
right
obviously the kids focus on the academics as well. What was I going to mention? Yeah. So I mean, the home ice, huge advantage. You sat there with me and watched some of their home games in the playoffs.
They're not close.
It's just amazing how tailored they are to that big ice.
Absolutely.
And once they get into the open, you feel like every time they get that puck, they're going to score.
Absolutely, and and I think that's what it'll come down to when we talk about that in a minute or so. But you know, I know Brampton beat them on home ice. I think only one loss on home ice.
One loss on home ice. Yeah, it was. Brampton did beat them.
Yeah, which is good for Brampton, but
yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be tough to beat them there. They're so good.
Extremely quick. Yep. But when you think quick, fast, a lot of the times you think small. But the thing is, well, they've got their smaller guys, if you want to call 5'10" small these days. But
if you do, I wouldn't.
But I wouldn't. But and then you look at, I mean, guys, they've got some big boys out there who not only can play that strength game, but they're fast too.
Yeah,
I'm talking about your Pinios and your Reeves, and I mean, they all aspects of it.
Potts, Israels.
Yeah.
Just go down the list there.
Yeah.
Too. They're really deep.
Stuff.
Wellington's deep. I think, and I just think it'll come down to Bateman and Barber. It always does in series just like that.
Special teams, their power play was mid-pack, around 17%. But the penalty kill, numero uno, number one in the playoffs.
Did you say 95?
96%. So that 1%, very important, Joe. 96%. I mean,
not bad.
Not bad at all. So, your pick, sir.
Sorry to everybody in Wellington, but I am going to pick Oakville in 7, and I think the home ice advantage is massive, and I think they'll continue with that. I am going to echo that, so we're going to live and die by that, but I think two great teams. I feel like this is Oakville's year, but Wellington, don't count Wellington out,
Wellington
everybody.
can make me look really stupid on that. And listen, I mean, either way, these are two great teams.
Absolutely.
I'm
great
excited about this final. Oh, yeah, so great. That's it. We're all out of time. Once again,
thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
I love having his expertise on the show. Everyone always says, is Joe coming back on the show? So there you go. Joe back on the show, guys. That's it. Just remember to keep up to date all throughout the playoffs, Buckland Cup final, OGHL.ca, and all your social media stuff is right there as well. Thank you so much, folks. We'll see you next week.